Well, here we are. Another ass-kicking later, 2 weeks straight, and this is what I was afraid that was going to happen. And the first thing I want to say before I start this video is I want to, congratulate the Dallas Cowboys and their fans for beating our ass, and you know, um, they beat us fair and square. No turnover would have made a difference. Nothing would have made a difference in this game. I told Eagle fans this past week, Dallas week, that, if the Eagles got their ass kicked for the second time, that I was going to turn into an Eagles fan, that a lot of Eagle fans that are especially subscribed to me are not going to favor, whether you're very negative, very positive, or like to keep things the way it is and, say, oh, you know what? We're only 10-3 now. Who cares? We've only lost 3 games. What's the big deal? I'm not that person, because I call out things when they need to be called out. Okay, whether it's from the roster, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the head coach, whether it's the front office, and whether it's these players, okay? I don't hold back from anything. So if you're going to get real raw Eagles content, this is where it's going to be, because I do not stray away from anything. The Eagles got their ass kicked once again. I said this week, how are the Eagles going to respond when literally the 49ers went into your home stadium, took a shit right on your face, and you did nothing about it? And we were promised this week for Dallas week that things were going to change. And Nick Sirianni mentioned that things were going to change with this offense and this defense. Little things are going to change going into this game. Now, when I see a team that literally is so flat from the 49ers game going into the Dallas game, and when I see that there is no fire, there is no pushback, the Eagles were as flat as usual, okay? Between 3 fumbles that really gave the Cowboys points and just not getting a rhythm going, the choice of play calls are still vanilla. They're still just very plain, and there's no creativity with this offense. Okay, you had 3 main fumbles from Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and A.J. Brown. And your 3 top players fumbling the football is a huge problem. I saw really nobody having an issue, nobody reprimanding anybody on the sideline. It was as flat as you could say flat. It was like, yeah, you know what? Let me just take this beating. Let me just take this kick to the face another 20 times, and let's just make sure this game is over as fast as possible. Let's just keep this pain going. It's the same play calls. There's nothing different. There's no creativity. There's no nothing from this game. I mean, it literally went from the 49ers game into the Dallas game the same way, and they actually played worse against a rival. Against a rival. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for kicking our ass, because, to be honest with you, I figured an ass kicking at home against the best team in the NFL was going to do the trick for us this week. But now, since I realized even more, I said, if the Eagles fight in this game and it's a close game and they lose, it won't be a big of a deal, okay? But since they got demolished, and the Cowboys probably could have put more points on the board, to be honest with you, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with... I haven't seen a different play call in weeks. I've seen almost the same thing every single drive. Miscommunication, throwing these big plays on 2nd and short, 3rd and short. I mean, throwing a deep ball downfield when you don't need to, running inside zone run. Yeah, they ran a little bit with DeAndre Swift, just a little tiny bit, but really not that much. You're still doing the same shit with these running backs where they run Swift in the first quarter, then Gainwell in the second quarter. It just keeps going on and on, okay? The passing game, I mean, at this point, Hurts is just hurt at this point. I think these players are just tired of this system. I think they're tired of the scheme. I think a lot of players are starting to give up. And not really question anything. I think this week a lot of things are going to erupt when it comes to this offense and BrianJohnson. I don't know where the deception starts to where it ends with the play calling. I don't know if it's all Nick. We heard it was Nick's game plan every single week. BrianJohnson piggybacks off of it. I don't know where it starts, where it ends, what happens. And I don't really care at this point. Because if Jeffrey Lurie will pick his GM, Howie Roseman, over his Super Bowl winning head coach to be fired and Doug Peterson, it wouldn't surprise me if Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat after this year. Okay? It's just not working. On the 4th and 9, when you're trying to, you're throwing under the sticks to Devontae Smith. You're throwing before the first down marker to Devontae Smith when they already know where it's going. Devontae Smith is not going to break tackles and get you a first down like that. A.J. Brown, they did the exact same thing. I mean, literally, your defense scored more points than your offense on the Fletcher Cox strip sack and the Jalen Carter scoop and score touchdown that really kind of put us on the board. I mean, it was still a 2-score game, but it got a little bit closer. We figured that was the moment on that scoop and score by Jalen Carter where, maybe we had a chance. Maybe there was something there was going to fire up this team. But no. And to be honest with you, I think the defense is even worse at this point. I mean, Hassan Reddick had a couple sacks, so he's got like 11.5 sacks for the season. There were some hold calls that were missed, but I don't care about the referees. I don't care about some of the PI calls that were bullshit because at the end of the day, take those away. It does nothing for this team. It doesn't have them win this game. It doesn't make a huge difference. The Eagles, the players are giving up on the coaches. The players are giving up on Nick Sirianni. I think they're tired of the scheme. I think they're tired of playing the same way every week. Look, you're a player trying to just do what the coaches are telling you to do in a failed system. Okay, this roster is not bailing out this team, these coaches anymore. I mean, it's caught up to us now. I don't think we're frauds. I think offensively, there's really no excuse. BrianJohnson is handed a top 2 offense on a silver platter, okay? And then obviously after Slay's comments this past week, the funny thing about that whole thing is that Slay just disappeared in this game today. I don't know what happened. Keely Ringo took over at outside corner, got burnt a couple times. And I just wondered, at halftime, I saw, even after the halftime report, I saw that Cam Jurgens had a chest injury. He got back into the game. The Dallas Cowboys had a few injuries. They had Malik Hooker and Jonathan Hankins and a couple other guys. They had about 4 injuries, I think, something like that for the Dallas Cowboys. And Slay took himself out of the game. Nowhere to be found. Not on the injury report at all. Slay just took himself off. And I'm tired, and I'm done. Our defense can't get a pass rush. I mean, why pay 2 corners if you're going to play them off ball? Why pay defensive linemen and draft 2 defensive tackles in the first round if your corners and your secondary play so far off the ball? It's vice versa, and it makes absolutely no sense why you put that much capital and drafts, put so much draft compensation into guys like that and pay 2 cornerbacks, okay? And Bradbury didn't have a great game either. And Slay hopefully doesn't get on his podcast and make himself look fucking stupid again, because he made himself look even more stupid today when he literally jumped out of the game for no reason and Keely Ringo took over for his spot. Keely Ringo, the one that motivated A.J. Brown, that Keely Ringo has been a good matchup at practice for him. Okay? They've given up 60-something points the last 11 drives. Our defense has given up 60-something points the last 11 drives the last 2 weeks. That's just insane. And something needs to be done. Because now we have to go into Monday Night Football next week against Seattle and embarrass ourselves once again. How does this team move forward? Now, the Eagles aren't getting number 1 seed now because the 49ers have to lose a game down the road. That's not going to happen, okay? The Eagles have to win out to just get the 2 seed. I think the Eagles still can lock the division because of the tiebreaker. Even if them losing today, the Eagles have more conference wins regardless. But they might have to play a couple more games now to even lock up the division. But I don't care about all that shit. I don't want this team to have home field advantage in the playoffs. You think that is actually going to help this team? I mean, really. I want this team to have the toughest tough. This team does not deserve a playoff game. This team doesn't deserve to be home field advantage. This team deserves to go on the road and be tested. That's what they should be doing. Okay? When I don't see a fight, I don't see any. The only thing that I saw on the sidelines today was Jalen Hurts just like looking like he just didn't want to be there. Talking to BrianJohnson, talking to the quarterback coach and Tanner on the sideline, and he just looked so aggravated and so just annoyed and probably wanted this game to be over with. I see no pushback from A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, nobody. I mean, there was some missed catches. There was 2 missed balls from Devontae Smith, 1 from A.J. Brown. I mean, it literally is oozing into everybody now. Everybody. Zacchaeus, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, a few guys had some good games today, which isn't saying that much, but there's literally you continued off of last week of what this is the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the resilient team that we've been looking at all year. It's not. Simple as that. I'm not going to call them fraud. I'm not going to say that this roster is that bad because it's not. It's both schemes and both coordinators and this head coach. It might be the biggest problem, finding out it might be the biggest problem from Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has to let go of his emotions, of his control, of this offense and this defense, whatever the case may be. Nick Sirianni is the one that wanted Jonathan Gannon's so-called scheme going into this year in 23. He hired the coach for that scheme. Self-promoting BrianJohnson was probably one of the worst moves the Eagles could make. Every time the Eagles promote from within, it is a problem. Just when Doug got fired, they want to promote Press Taylor. There was rumors that Doug wanted some free reign to go get some new blood. This could be a Howie Roseman problem. I don't know what problem it is. From the signs from literally the last 8 years, 6, 7 years, that's what I could tell so far. Because guarantee you, Howie Roseman is not going to let a head coach take the keys to everything. But at the same time, Nick hired his own coordinator. Nick hired his own defensive coordinator for the same scheme he wanted with Jonathan Gannon. And sad to say, Jonathan Gannon's defense last year looked better than this defense, I have to say. TJ Edwards was one of the biggest losses of the season. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was one of the biggest losses of the season because this team is a bunch of wimps. This team they lost their toughness, they lost their mentality, they really lost their way. And like I said, you can only blame the players so much because they are told what to do in this failed system on both sides of the football. Okay? A 10-3 team is playing like a 3-10 team right now. That's what it looks like. There is talent beyond this roster. On this roster, there is. We don't have the right coaches. And unfortunately, defensively, I could see why the defense fails with this scheme because you're not really great at linebacker. You're not really great at a couple positions. And cornerback has been looking like a weak-minded position by so-called leaders that think they can lead or think they know what they're talking about. And you know what? Some guys just need to fucking retire. So the typical Eagle fans are going to fight me this week, and I get it. I understand that. Look, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all want this team to get a championship. We all want this team to win a Super Bowl. Like, we can all have different opinions. That's fine. But this week, we have to be ourselves. I really hope that some of these guys go to the NovaCare complex. Some of these fans start a rally that this team needs to change because this team ain't winning a playoff game. This team doesn't have the guts to win a playoff game. Not only at home, but they're definitely not winning on the road. I think the Eagles need a mid-season firing. I think they need it. The Bears did it, and they looked a lot better. Couple teams did it this year, and they looked a lot better. Okay? The Bills did it, and the Bears did it. Okay? I don't think the Eagles are firing a head coach midseason. I just don't think it's happening. But if Nick keeps Sean Desai next year, and if BrianJohnson goes and Frank Reich comes in, something has to change here. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 17, the 16 and 17 seasons with Carson Wentz as a starting quarterback, okay, they ran the offense through analytics, okay? The only difference is that the Eagles made adjustments during those times in game. This year, they're not making any adjustments. They literally keep an analytic stat or whatever they do. Well, on 2nd and 3 against this play, we could do this, or just stupid shit like that. And I don't see anything different from the last 8 weeks. I really don't. Not only are you not playing, now you're not even playing good in the second half, which you haven't been doing. The second half is now a big fail. Teams are just figuring out right now, since you're looking so bland, that they are just going to blitz the shit out of Jalen Hurts, and Hurts is going to have nowhere to go. I don't think Hurts is benefiting from this system. I think the coaching, Hurts got paid, and Hurts got used way too much early in the season. I think he got hit so much this season, and I think Hurts is indecisive at times, and I think these mistakes happen because I think Hurts needs a mental fucking disconnection from this team for a little bit. I don't know. I'm not even saying bench him for the rest of the season because I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, like, it's not getting any better. The run game, inside zone, it's the same run play. It's not like it's a different run play. The Eagles are the last ranked team for in-motion plays. They don't even use motion at all. What creativity. And yet again, 3rd and long, and yet again, they want to do that bailout play with Jalen Hurts, QB draw, running up the middle, because that's the only thing that BrianJohnson or Nick Sirianni can do. That's the problem. And to be honest with you, during the game, I did see Nick Sirianni with a play sheet in his hand, and he was checking things off on it. So there is some collaborative effort with this play calling, and Nick is probably the biggest problem of it right now. Simple as that. I'm very upset because I love this team with a passion, and I've never seen a team crumble so fucking bad in my life. Like, I mean, maybe one other time, but I haven't seen this in a while, and it's really upsetting. I wish that I don't have an answer. I can't wait another week to see what happens. I mean, you're going to go into Monday night against DK Metcalf, against Tyler Lockett, against JSN, whether it's Geno Smith or Drew Lock, and you think Slay is gonna tackle DK Metcalf? I mean, seriously? You think Slay is gonna actually contest with DK Metcalf? Right. Another player that plays hard against the Eagles every chance that he gets, and they're gonna be playing in Seattle. Do they wait another week to make a change? No. They don't. If they don't, I mean, I'd be shocked if the players don't speak up this week. I'd be shocked. Like I said before, I think the players are sick of this, sick of the scheme, sick of both schemes on both sides of the football. I watch the post games. There's nothing different. The standard is, I'm tired of, I didn't even hear that today, but I'm tired of hearing the same shit after every game, the last couple games. I don't give a fuck about the standard. That shit's done with. It's over with. Take that fucking mask off because it's not working anymore. Do they actually fire somebody this week? I don't know. Because I don't know if it's Howie Roseman that has control over the schemes, or I have no idea where, like I said, I have no idea where this whole fucking bullshit circus starts and where this bullshit circus ends. I have no freaking clue about it. but something needs to be done. The culture is damaged, and that is the worst thing that could happen because players are going to start to give up on the coaching staff. They are going to give up on Nick Sirianni sooner or later. Once the players do that, then moves will be made. But if they stay quiet and they stay passive and they don't say a fucking word about this shit all week, you're going to see another ass kicking. And if they get their ass kicked against Seattle, and say they make no moves this week and nothing happens, and if they go into Seattle and get their asses handed to them once again, which, number one, I think it's going to happen if they make no changes, I don't think you could salvage this season at all. I don't know if this thing really is salvageable at this point. The one thing the Eagles have that's on their side right now is time. You have 5 games left, okay? 4 games left. You have time to fix things. I've been saying this every single week, but, they lost against the Jets, and they seemed, you know what? If we're winning this way, why fucking change it, right? Why change this whole thing? What's the big deal? Then they got their asses kicked at the link by the 49ers. Black trench coats to the funeral of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not defending Bradbury, acting soft during the week. A game that was circled on the calendar from a team and the fan base has been talking shit since the last NFC Championship to the past offseason, then going into the season. And then figuring, you know what? They got to fight back this week. They must have regrouped, and man, we're going to, against a rival, you'd want to just fucking kick somebody's ass. And guess what they did? They took a shit. They laid another goose egg and took another shit. You let another team take a shit on you, you end up getting disrespected once again. Disrespected once again. I don't think I could wait another week to be, if we had a 1 o'clock game next week, I really wouldn't give a shit as much. But you're on primetime next Monday night. So do I really want to wait another week until this thing really fucking boils over? I want this shit to boil over. I want something to happen. Once the players start acknowledging, like, we're tired of this shit and we don't even want to play in this fucking system anymore, whether it's offense or defense, there's more of an excuse because there's holes on defense. There's more of an excuse on defense, even though the defensive coordinator shouldn't even be here at this point. There's more of it on defense just because there are holes on that side, because linebacker's not great. Your pass rush isn't great because how your scheme is with your secondary. Your secondary is not great because of not getting the pass rush. So it's vice versa, hand in hand. The offense, there's really no excuse for the roster that you have. You're pretty much fully healthy. Dallas Goedert barely did anything in this fucking game a couple times. Fake handoff throw to Goddard. I mean, I know the playbook at this point, and it's got to be one fucking sheet long because I can almost guess what the fuck they're doing every time. Penalties, drive killers, 3 fumbles, and all these players look like they just didn't give a fuck the whole entire day. The whole day. And it's one of the most saddest things I've seen. And it sucks. And I wish this didn't happen. And I said, if this happens, if the Eagles get fucking destroyed by the Cowboys, I am going to be more crucial than I've ever been. And this week is going to be a fucking circus. It's going to be the TMZ Sports of this channel because that's what it's going to be. To know every bit of information of what's going on behind the scenes, and these players are fucking sick of what these coaches have put them through. But these players aren't, some of these players are to blame as well. Doesn't make this a bad roster, but a little change in scheme could change a lot of play of how the Eagles would be playing this year. And unfortunately, both sides aren't benefiting from it. And it's caught up to us the last couple weeks. It's caught up to us. Not just 1 week, but 2 weeks. You got punched in the fucking mouth, and you've had no answer. The Eagles are going to be in the playoffs, but that doesn't make an excuse for what they've done till this point. Some of the Eagle fans are just like, they're good with, we've only lost 3 games for the season. We have 4 more games to play, and we're going to be in the playoffs, and who cares what seed we have? And you honestly think this team is going to win a playoff game? No. It's not. It's because teams have figured us out so much to the point where you could figure this out so much at this point. I don't even. It's a headache, dude. I'm really upset. I'm really so that we don't deserve this shit. We don't deserve this. We deserve better than this. And the only way to do it is just tell them. I mean, I'm just a fan at the end of the day. We're just fans at the end of the day. What difference do we make? Well, I guess as a collaborative effort, we can make a difference, and what the fuck should change. But someone's got to get fired. Simple as that. Either you fire BrianJohnson and bring Frank Reich in, because Frank Reich will make the adjustments if you want to go analytically with your offense, and defensively, Sean Desai's got to go. He's got to go. Nobody's benefiting from this defense. Nobody is. Might as well not even pay cornerbacks. I'd rather have a whole defense full of undrafted free agents than fucking pay guys and waste their time, your money, and our fucking money going to these football games and watching this fucking team every week, if that's what you're going to do. I was completely shocked that they literally let this happen again for the second time of the season, second time in a row. I wish it didn't. I wish we fought more in this game. I wish there was a sense of urgency, but the culture is damaged. Once players start giving up in football games like this, that's just the start of it. And this has happened 2 weeks in a row. My guess is the Eagles won't make any changes this week. My guess is they'll go into Seattle and get their ass kicked again. And then, if no one gets fired this week, they lose against Seattle, I'm firing everybody. I'm firing both the coordinators. I'm taking this shit fucking off. Now, I'm not saying a coaching rebuild, yes. A literal rebuild, no. I think the Eagles have the pieces in place. But I don't feel good about Nick. Nick brought us to a Super Bowl. I don't care. We didn't win. And if they fired, if Jeffrey Lurie picks Howie Roseman over Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni will be no problem to fucking get rid of it. If that's the case. Denard Wilson should have been the defensive coordinator this past year. Going to the Jets. Denard Wilson should have been the fucking the DC. Because that man knows aggression. Look what he's doing with the New York Jets. Leslie Frazier's out there. I don't know. I don't have... I'm not here to discuss who the fuck's out there. Until a move is made, I'm not even discussing it. I don't want to wait until Seattle. I want them to start right now. Because then it'll send a message to the team that things are going to get better. Nick's got to let go of this control, whether it's Howie to Nick or Nick by himself. Nick promoted his own offensive coordinator. And Nick hired his defensive coordinator that he wants, that would run his scheme that he wanted, that was run by Jonathan Gannon last year. I'm just sick and disgusted of the attitude and no pushback and no drive, no heart. This isn't what a Philadelphia Eagle is. This doesn't represent the city of Philadelphia. Slay's comments is just one piece to the puzzle of what this team is. And that's a fucking leader for this team. which is like so fucking sad. That's an actual leader for this team. Seth Joyner would love to coach again, but you know what? He won't do it. You know why Seth Joyner won't fucking coach again or won't coach at all? Okay? Is because he'll get into it with players. He'll get into it with actual players, and he won't be able to handle players that make millions of dollars because sometimes these fucking guys don't care when things are not clicking at all. And that's a big problem. So you're going to get a more truer side of me this week because when the chips are down, Eagle fans are going to be fighting each other this week. Fans are going to be going back and forth. The negative fans will be fighting with the positive fans. The positive fans will be fighting with the negative fans. The negative fans will be negative. The positive will be positive. And the people in between will be in between. I am a realist, and that's all I'm ever going to be towards this team and towards the people that support me and support who I am for what I am on my channel. And that's the important thing of this situation. I'm dying on the inside knowing like, damn, like this really sucks. Like to be 10-3, 10-win season so far, and this is what it looks like, and this is how it's going to crumble. And sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. But I can't see them keeping this thing the same this week. I can't. If they go one more week saying like this, I mean, literally next week is do or die. I mean, it is. Next week is do or die. If the Eagles lose against Seattle, they're done. It's the season's a fail. It's over. It's done with. They lose 3 straight games. It's done with. It's already. I think right now, if they don't make a change, I think it's done with. Because I think whatever you're keeping in the building right now is not going to make. I mean, that's just this. I'm tired, man. My mind is just tired. Been a long day. I think we deserve a lot better than this. The front office needs to do something here because this is not good. Your coordinators are trash. Get some new blood in the building. They get their hands all over these fucking talented, some of these really talented players. Sidney Brown, I thought, played really good. He got moved. You know, Reed Blankenship got hurt. Sidney Brown went to safety, and, man, he was just sacrificing his body and just playing fucking smash mouth football, man. Like, there's just, like, I love just little plays like that. I'm like, man, like, I see so many good things in a lot of these players. We're not exploiting the best out of what we have on our roster. You're setting these players up to fail. Your offensive roster is getting tired. Your defensive roster is getting tired. They're careless. They're beginning to get careless now. That's what people need to realize. They are getting careless. Once that happens, it's done. Once that happens, the front office is literally forced to make a change for the betterment of the team and the players that are still signed here for millions of dollars. I'm expecting a lot of changes next year, and I can't believe I don't want to talk about next year because there shouldn't be a next year. We should be talking about getting ready for the playoffs, getting number 1 seed, but it's not going to happen. The playoffs might happen. The division might be, we might win the division, but that's as far as you're going. You're not going anywhere else. It's unfortunate. If a move isn't made this week and they go into Seattle the way they are right now, it's over. I'm waiting after the Seattle game to lose that game, and then the season's going to be fucking over after 10-3. The season's going to be, by the time they get to 10-4, the season's going to be fucking over. Realistically, it's going to be over. It's not, but it's going to be. I don't care who you face in the playoffs. Like, this would be a better testament to the Eagles. If the Eagles are slated to have the 5th seed right now. If the Eagles have the 5th seed, okay, and they play a harder team, a not great team, or whatever the case may be in the NFC, depending on what they do, okay, and they still fucking lose, It's a pure example of why they don't deserve what they fucking deserve. And like I said, there's only so much blame you could put on certain players, and there's certain ones I have to fucking call out, obviously. But coaching staff fails the players. The players fail the system because the system is over the players, because you're not setting up your players for success. You're not putting your players in the best position to win football games. You're literally letting the same thing happen every single week. Did the defense play better against the Cowboys in the second half? Sure, but not much to say there. But I don't want to make this video any longer, but this is just how I feel. I need a mid-season firing. Mid-season firing. And if they lose, and if they make no changes, and if they do make a change and they still lose against Seattle, the season's done. It sounds stupid, but it's really not. You think an extra 4 games, 3 games after Seattle is really going to fucking matter? And then get into the playoffs, and they're going to come out with hype videos, and don't buy any more Eagles gear. Don't waste your fucking money, and don't waste your fucking time, and enjoy the fucking holidays, because this shit is going to be over before we know it, and sooner or later we'll be talking about the fucking offseason. We'll be talking about free agency, and we'll be talking about who to fucking trade and get off this fucking roster, and there's a lot of weak individuals on this roster I am willing to ship out of here because I'm just tired of it, with the coaches on top of it. Because if the Eagles lose against Seattle, I'm looking for a literal rebuild in the coaching staff. Purely brand new rebuild in the coaching. The Eagles don't change head coaches that much, but we might be changing one soon if things don't switch up. And if Nick doesn't let go, and if he's a part of the play calling or whatever the case may be, we need to bring some new blood. We need a defensive coordinator to come in and take over his own shit. A new defensive coordinator that's going to be new blood in the building, that's going to do his own thing and run his defense the way he wants to run it. Not what Nick wants. Not Nick's offensive scheme piggybacked off BrianJohnson or whatever the case may be. Not Nick's wanted scheme that he wants to hire the specific coach that he wanted. I'm tired of this control bullshit. I'm tired of the controlling bullshit. That's all I got to say. So, if you agree with me, great. If you don't, I apologize if we don't agree on everything. At the end of the day, we both want this team to get better. But I'm not going to sit here and lick the Eagles' asshole all fucking week and be like, oh, yes, oh, my God, like, oh, it's only 3 losses, guys. It's okay. We'll get it next week. Oh, you know, we'll be ready by the playoffs. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not that type of dude. I ain't fucking going to sit here and kiss their ass and say that everything's going to get better next week. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Oh, this will finally be the game where the Eagles play 4 quarters of great football. No. It's not it. So I am mentally done. I am tired, and I'm going to go to sleep. And you guys try to enjoy your week. At the end of the day, we're just fans, and we got to do what we got to deal with. Yeah, I'm waiting for changes already. It's done. Teams have done it this year and have played better because of it, and I think the Eagles are the next team on that list that needs to do it. And if they don't change anything this week, then they're just prideful, stupid-ass motherfuckers that don't give a shit, that think that their way is the only way, and that things will just get better. The more they hope and they think things are going to get better, just put us through the fucking buzzsaw, because it's going to be a fucking mess. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Sorry to make it so negative and so horrible, but that's just the truth, honestly. And I hope you guys can respect me for that. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys on their win. Much respect to them. Got our asses kicked, and we deserved it for a second week straight. And players better speak up this week, because that's the only way it's going to change. Players make what happens next. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.